In between the lines here, following Thanksgiving weekend, rivalry week, it's been a lot of mess, to say the least, Joe. Um, First off, we're going to start off with Lane Kiffin. We spoke about it previously. What is he going to do? Is he going to stay at Ole Miss? Is he going to go to LSU? I think Florida was on the table as well. News has been brought out. He just released some. He pretty much released saying that he's going to LSU. What is your thoughts? How do you feel? This is what we about to see for the next few years.
I must say, Vaughn, that I've never witnessed this before ever in terms of a team making a championship run in the midst of making a championship run and has a good chance to make noise in that championship run without their head coach. I've seen head coaches get a new job. I've seen assistants get new jobs while their teams go throughout the playoff run. But that's what's most stunning to me, that this is happening while Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, a decision has to be made to where you go to LSU, get the job right away, show up to work right away, as in Monday, as in right now, you leave your team that's going to make the college football playoff without you, without the head coach. You're not starting what you're finishing. And that is why, from Lane Kiffin's standpoint, Vaughn, I think that he wanted to coach the Ole Miss running Rebels, or the Ole Miss Rebels, because of I want to start where I finish. I have a chance to do something special. Although I might be leaving, I have a chance to do something special. I see the optics, which is not good. The optics are not good. That it's an SEC a team that I'm going to. Transfer portal. I'm going to be trying to recruit some of the players that's on this roster right now to travel with me to LSU, and I might get some of the coaches that might be assistant coaches offensively. They might travel with me to LSU, but I still want to finish this off. That's why he said in his goodbye letter that he would have parameters and guidelines of how to make sure that it makes sense for Ole Miss. With that being said, Vaughn, I would love to hear your opinion about it. With that being said, I totally get where Ole Miss is coming from. No, pack your bags, get your hat and your coat, and leave. And we thank you for your services, because soon, I think that Ole Miss is going to have a farewell, a good farewell tour, or feel better about this down the road. Not now, maybe not next year, but in 2 or 3 years, they're going to look back and say that those years, those historic years, record-setting years that Lane Kiffin was at Ole Miss, that they're going to be appreciative of that. But for right now, they hate Lane Kiffin. They think he's leaving them high and dry. But I don't know. I can see both ends of the party, from Ole Miss wanting him to not continue and then naming Pete Golding the head coach, not the interim head coach, but the permanent head coach, and then asking Lane Kiffin to go ahead and leave right away. So, and Lane Kiffin to say that I want to coach, and the players, Vaughn, the players as well said that they would want Lane Kiffin to stay and coach because of continuity and how they know he gets them prepared. So um, it's a tough one, especially with the playoff run. But I can see both ways, both parties.
Well, one thing I wanted to go ahead and pull up was the actual letter that you just mentioned. So, per Lane Kiffin on X, he said, after a lot of prayer and time spent with family, I made a difficult decision to accept the head coaching position at LSU. I was hoping to complete a historic six-season run with this year's team by leading Ole Miss through the playoffs, capitalizing on the team's incredible success and their commitment to finish strong, and investing everything into a playoff run with guardrails in place to protect the program in any area of concern. My request to do so was denied by Keith Carter, despite the team also asking him to allow me to keep coaching them so they could better maintain their high level of performance. Unfortunately, that means Friday's Egg Bowl was my last game coaching the Rebels. While I am looking forward to a new start with a unique opportunity at LSU, I will forever cherish the incredible 6 years I spent at Ole Miss and will be rooting hard for the team to complete their mission and bring a championship to Oxford.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I want to point out a few things because look like he trying to throw Keith Carter right up under the bus.
Well, that's not necessarily under the bus
Or
when it's
or
facts.
or he make it's I feel like it's a difficult decision for everybody. It's been uncomfortable for Ole Miss, of course, leading up to this point. It ain't really affected the team because they still been winning and handling business. I'm
Right.
sure it could be uncomfortable for LSU, a major program such as LSU, thinking about it and say, hey, it's December. We ain't figured out our coach yet. So that could be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you just tearing the team in half because some people won't want to go. And from my understanding, the transfer portal is about to open up very soon, while the college football playoffs is going to still be going on.
And you want to add into it, Vaughn, that this coming Wednesday would be the early signing period that you can sign in December. So when you have in place that recruiting starts and you're going to have a new class coming in on Wednesday, you would want your head coach to be in place. So from LSU standpoint, they wanted Lane Kiffin to probably hurry up and make a decision as well. But they were going to allow him to do just that, finish the job if Ole Miss would allow him to finish the job. This is not just a bowl game run where you leave and some interim coach coaches a bowl game. This is a chance to win a national championship. That's why it's so unique. So, and I want to give you a comparison. Here you is got John Summerall from Tulane. His team, okay, his team plays um, for the AAU, the American Conference Championship, on Friday night. And what did Florida went ahead and do? Named him, and Florida's allowing him. And he said that he's going to coach on this Friday's game at Tulane. And not only that, Tulane has a chance as being a non-Power Five champion to go to the playoff, college football playoff. And the AD at Tulane and Florida's in agreement that if they do make the college football playoff, he'll coach through that. So what is the difference? Okay, so there is two things, and I understand that the guy from Tulane, John Sumrall, he is actually making an upgrade. We can all see that it's going from a non-Power Five to a Power Five powerhouse with name and tradition and championships in the Florida Gators. But when you look at it, he's sticking around throughout the entire playoffs. But again, you can always say devil's advocate in the terms of I'm going from Ole Miss to LSU, which is in the conference.
Right.
So it's touchy. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to not be able to say whose side you're on, because what we're doing now is we're not debating, Vaughn. We're just talking about what's happening. We're chopping it up in the barbershop, so to speak. So I'm on the fence. I'm right down the middle of with Lane Kiffin and see where he thinks that he can coach this team and ignore LXU or put all those things aside, the distractions for a playoff run. And I can understand that from Mr. Keith, the athletic director, that ah, that's one I don't. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not
Well,
buying it.
is
I'm
it
not
to
buying the
say?
fact that Lane Kiffin is going to be honorable and not try to poach and talk to players and do some other business on the side while still trying to coach us. And those might become too many distractions.
Well, then we also got to discuss this whole talk. I said that he was out of here before before the breaking news, and it just felt like you could feel the tension in the air from the reporters at Ole Miss, from I'm sure the AD and him. Maybe the coaching staff was still intact and the players were still on his side, but you could feel the tension in the air. Imagine you having to spend, now this is part of the job though, but imagine you having to spend your Thanksgiving weekend, the entire weekend, sitting there waiting on Lane Kiffin to make a decision, and he tell you I'm gonna have a decision by this day, and yet a whole nother day gonna went by and you still no decision. And them guys, now I still don't think it's no excuse for some of those reporters to I've never seen them talk to a coach or a player the way that they was talking to Lane Kiffin. And that could just be from
What do
uh,
you mean?
I've never seen even the discussion where Lane Kiffin response was, "Hey, this Bush League, man, we not ain't gonna pay that no mind." And then the reporter's response was like, "Well, that wasn't my question anyway." And if it is, the saying was, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife because hoes don't act right. It's more so about integrity and holding him to the fire, And then Lane Kiffin responded back with, "Dude, I don't even know your name." Like
Oh man.
I thought that was it's the silent killer. But I feel as though Lane has definitely dragged this out. He's put Ole Miss at an awkward position. However, before he
do you
came,
do you think intentionally? See, that's the thing. When we look at human beings and we look at a decision, it's quick for us as a whole to say, yeah, the money. It should be easy. He's following the money. And we gloss over the fact that this might be a very, very tough decision for him. This might be that, he doesn't quite know. He needed the Egg Bowl. He needed to go through Mississippi State and talk over it through the Thanksgiving holidays and the weekend with his family and see what his kids think, what his wife thinks, all those situations. So the last 6 years they've been in Oxford, at Ole Miss. So it might have been might be a tough situation. It could be wearing on him the fact that he has to leave this unfinished business where he thinks he might have had the best team he's had at Ole Miss, and he can't top it off being with those guys. We don't know how that hurts him inside because sometimes his reputation and what he's done in the past, we looked at that and say that's the same old guy. But I'm gonna look at him and give him the benefit of the doubt and say this is an opportunity to go to LSU and build it and hopefully not have to go anywhere else because there aren't many unless you want to go back to the NFL, there aren't many better schools or better opportunities where the resources and the ability to be able to pay players what they need in NIL and recruits. That's a hotbed of recruits down in Louisiana. It's one per capita. It's one, and they love and they want to stay home at LSU. So he's got his beck and call. So I don't see him wanting to go anywhere else. But this opportunity might have just been a tough one for Lane Kiffin to decide, and that's why he took so long.
well, I want to say shout out to my boy Marley. We was discussing this. We was discussing this today earlier and this weekend. It's about 5 to 6 positions or head coaching jobs in college football.
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
come calling, you going. And LSU
Okay,
is one of those things. You got LSU, you
okay,
got Ohio State, you got
okay,
Michigan, you
okay.
got Texas, and you got Alabama. And I would throw UGA as the sixth team. But other than that, I don't care where you at. If those 6 schools come calling, it's an upgrade. It's a promotion. You
Yes,
moving on.
yes.
Cause now as Ole Miss, I understand from the perspective and the Ole Miss fan base say, hey, you built something great here. We got the opportunity to win a championship right here. Why in the world would you leave just to go be another guy at LSU? Because they talk about Ed Ogeron. Hey, he won a championship, fired about 2 years later. They talk about Les Miles. He had a long tenure there. However, it still ended up with being fired. If he stay at Ole Miss, he can get a lifetime contract almost because Ole Miss expectations is not the same. But
No,
when
that's
you
right.
when you chasing greatness on a different level, and maybe you following in the footsteps of Nick Saban and Pete
Right.
Carroll, and you say, "Hey, I want to add another championship here," and these are the Power 6 schools, you not turning down. What do you
Absolutely.
think in regards to that? Hey, when those 6 schools call, what's your decision? Regardless if we got a championship, we can win today or this year. Do you feel like he made the best decision, or would you say, you know what, I'm gonna stick with these boys because he may feel like his best chance to win a national championship other than this year in the future is at LSU than it would be in Ole Miss.
That's exactly what he's feeling, and that is going to be true, Vaughn. That is true. about the likelihood of him winning a national championship uh, at Ole Miss is not that high. I mean, he's taken Ole Miss to its highest of the heights right now. They're at the peak of where they've ever been in the football history of Ole Miss. So when you look at it, he's a competitor. What does he want to be known as? A great football coach. That's what he wants to be known as. And when you look at it, he wants a championship under his belt. He doesn't want to be known as an innovative offensive coordinator that won with Coach Saban, that can call plays and can have a fast pace and high scoring offense. Just that. Now he want to be known as a champion, and when push comes to shove, he's going to have better resources, better talent, better opportunities at LSU to win that something that they've done or been accustomed to winning. At Ole Miss, that's never happened.
Right.
You have something to go off of when you say what LSU resume looks like. But not Ole Miss. Now you can challenge yourself that I'm going to be the first one, and they have them build a statue at Ole Miss. But no, and I agree with those that come calling who you would leave and go. It was very very surprising that Lincoln Riley would leave Oklahoma and go to USC. I would add USC to one of those teams you pick
Power
that you
six,
might
yeah.
just Power Six, and I would also definitely have to add Notre Dame to the Power Six as well. Power Eight now, because that's a school that's tradition wise that you would leave to go. And Lincoln Riley, no, excuse me, and Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, a high blue blood or Power Five, Power Seven, in my opinion, to go to LSU. So that
But
speaks
that
volumes
that
of
that
what
that speaks about LSU being one
and
of
the
those,
expectations.
yeah, and the expectations that come with it. So with Lane Kiffin now going, the question is how much of a leash is Tiger Lane on in regards to how long does he have to at least be in the SEC championship before that seat get hot?
Well, this is my opinion. Vaughn, hitting the ground running, Lane Kiffin next year is going to be expected to make the college football playoff. No doubt about it, because he's inheriting a team that's 7-5. LSU finished the season at 7-5. That's with firing their coach with games left in the season. So you don't have to kind of revamp everything, but the expectation and the talent that Lane Kiffin, and let me tell you another fact: Lane Kiffin, the last 3 years, has finished top 5 in transfer portal ranking. So he knows how to build a team through the transfer portal and get guys that he needs to get to build a team. So he'll be able to revamp that roster. And my expectations from those guys down in the Bayou, they're going to expect LSU to be in the playoff next year. And then right after that, to constantly be in the SEC championship game and making the college football playoffs. I don't think there would ever be a scenario where the LSU faithfuls are cool with just making the college football playoffs. No, no. Lane Kiffin will get removed from that 7-year contract if all he does is win or get into the college football playoffs. He's going to have to win a conference championship, SEC conference championship, get to one or two more, and hold up a national championship. That'll be the resume I think Lane Kiffin and the LSU Tigers are looking for in 7 years. Constantly show up in the college football playoffs, win one or two SEC championships, and beat to a couple more, and bring home one national championships. I think that championship, excuse me. I think that'll be a success when you're talking about Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin at LSU.
Well, it is Sunday, so we must discuss the other debacle or what's been going on all year. We understand with the Browns. The final score, we knew they were playing a much tougher opponent in the San Francisco 49ers. The final score was 26-8. What's your assessment of how Shador played, and what's next for the Browns?
I'm going to get as realistic as I can with talking about Shador and expectations and what I see, because I'm going game by game, step by step, as if this guy is what is it, as it is what it is. And what it is that he's only started 2 games. His offensive line is not that good. His talent around him is not that good. Um, and he's inexperienced. So he's working through things. I loved the command of the huddle, getting in and out of the huddle. Um, knowing the plays, knowing how to line guys up. I'm seeing him not getting delay of games, not being confused as far as coverages. He knows where to go with the football. So as a rookie, not turning the ball over, or he didn't have a turnover this particular game against the San Francisco 49ers. So I think it's growing, or he's growing. It's going to be growing pains, but I didn't think he did terrible. I think he did just above average or average, but I didn't think he harmed his opportunity to start or still hold off Dylan Gabriel from starting this week. And matter of fact, shout out to Shador as far as what I'm hearing of his practice habits throughout the week. Coach Stefanski said that he and his staff thought about giving Shador Sanders an extended period of games because of the way he's improving during practice and getting better. And you're going to only get better with reps. And keep in mind, him finishing that game today, although it wasn't in hand or in balance or a close game in the fourth quarter, every rep that you get as a young player in Shador Sanders with live bullets flying in an NFL game, you can put that in your memory bank. You can put that in your bank to be able to say, I've been in that game, I've seen this look, or or saw that look and improve. Anytime you can have the eye in the sky as far as film watching an NFL game, that's an improvement, and that's game reps you can never take back.
I just want to read the stat line for the Cleveland Browns offense because I'm not gonna spend much time talking about the Browns. Of course, I'm rooting for Shador, but all right, we started. They started off 5 plays, 21 yards, punt. Then somewhat of a good drive, 10 plays, 49 yards, turnover on downs.
Yep.
7 plays, 12 yards, punt. The best drive of the game, 10 plays, 90 yards for a touchdown. Shador threw a touchdown pass. I believe it was a 34-yard pass to Fanning, which has been his best weapon so far. Thus far, it looks like he got the best connection with him. But 34-yard, and we got the 2-point conversion. So 2-point conversion. At this point, Browns is up 8-7. It's like, okay, something might be able to happen. San Francisco kick a field goal to end the half, up 10-8. Third quarter, get the ball, 5 plays, 14 yards, punt. Get the ball again, 4 plays, 8 yards, fumble. And this was a fumble by Jenkins. No, direct snap to Fanning, the rookie tight end, fumbled the ball.
San Francisco. On 4th and 1 at their own 33-yard line.
Yeah. Then another, this was a muffed, I believe, punt.
Another
Turnover, but this had nothing to do with Shador. Then get the ball again, 7 plays, 10 yards, turnover on downs. Then lastly, 9 plays, 27 yards, turnover on downs. Shador finished 16-25, 149 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. The offense is god awful. But San Francisco got a tough defense. This is the NFL. Like you said, certainly he didn't do anything to lose his job. We got to allow him more time. But can somebody get some talent on that Cleveland Brown offense? Other than Judkins. Judkins going to run hard. Can we get some receivers out there?
And Fanning is a good player as well. Here's the deal, Vaughn.
Playing well.
Here's the deal, Vaughn. Don't worry about anything as far as, help is not on the way. This team is not going to improve as far as the roster. Like you said, you don't want to spend too much time talking about the Cleveland Browns as a whole. You're talking about Shador. That's the main focus. And he's on deck. This is his evaluation. However long or however he earned the rest of the reps this season, starting the remainder of the games, he's fighting to be QB1 going into next year. This is his opportunity to be QB1. And if he continues to grow, show command of the huddle, show leadership, be the first in the building, the last out of the building, with his steady habits, that everything I'm hearing out of Cleveland that is what he's doing. He's being the ultimate professional. And you know his teammates are gravitating towards him, and they want nothing better than for him to succeed. So it's lined up for him. It is lined up for him, the evaluation part, to where he doesn't. He's not going to be able to point the finger and say, I didn't get a chance or I was treated misfairly. How it happened, he might not have liked how it happened and what it took to get here or the wait, but he looked like he was very patient and prepared. So I'm anxious to watch him going forward. I don't think he took a step back this week, so that's a good sign as well.
Well, next week, an even better sign is they got Tennessee coming to town. Or actually, I think they'll be going to Tennessee, but it's, what some may have thought what should have been the top two quarterbacks in the draft. It'll be Cam Ward. We are suspecting that Shador should be the starter, but you
Right.
never know with that Cleveland Browns franchise what they may necessarily do. In between the lines, Joe, we're going to be reporting back as of this Tuesday after
Right.
the college football playoff or ranking is set up. What's a game, very quickly, some games that you're looking forward to when we're talking about conference championships?
Oh, obviously the big heavyweight fight, Georgia Bulldogs versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kirby Smart right now is sitting at 0-2 versus Kalen DeBoer. So that's a big problem. I think the Alabama has won 8 or maybe 9 of the last 10 games against Georgia. Georgia, did win the big one as far as the national championship game a few years back. But that's going to be a heavyweight fight. I'm looking forward to seeing what Indiana team shows up against Ohio State. We're not accustomed to having Indiana name called conference championship in football, but that's a different team. They love their coach. They love their coach and they play hard and they're physical. So I'm looking at those two to be in particular. And Texas Tech coming out of the Big 12. If they lose, will they still get in? They're ranked top 5 right now in the college in the coaches the committee poll, the CFP. But can they afford to lose their conference championship where they have a national cachet or cliche respect to still get in off after losing their conference championship game?
Well, Lane.
And I must say this. I must say this. I don't know how I'm gonna defend how it looks on the outside or how perception may perceive it to be when you have the ACC having Virginia Cavaliers and the Duke Blue Devils in the conference championship game.
Right.
That's shout out to Duke. Manny Diaz, the head coach, and shout out to Virginia, Tony Elliott. That head coach, because I don't want to take anything away from them, but to have an unranked Duke and Duke records sit at 7-5 right now, Vaughn. Duke records at 7-5, and they're in an ACC championship game against the Virginia Cavaliers.
Well, this is in between the lines. We're gonna have to certainly tune in to see what's next. College football, Lane Kiffin shook it up, as well as Shador stunk it up. This is in between the lines, and we are certainly looking forward for you to leave some feedback and let us know what you may think about what's going on in both the NFL as well as college. Stay tuned.